Oh, there's my friend Brenna. You know why I like you, Brenna? Because you have purple.
Why, Johnny?
Because you have purple hair, and that's the color of the island of Kauai.
I
That's
did
one
not
thing
know
I like
that.
about
Didn't
you.
know that.
I need to visit Kauai.
You should, please, please. We'd be delighted. He told me he's been there a few times. She's been to my farm a couple of times. So,
Yeah, we'll
that
have
would
to
be
get
fun.
her there. Yeah.
he told me, can you please tell us a little bit more about our
Oh,
friend Brenna?
of course. Yes. So Brenna Quan is a very good friend of mine. We have taught together. We have worked together on projects. She's a very accomplished designer, so respected in the industry, so admired in the industry for her inventiveness and her education ability, teaching ability is enormous. And so I'm just so pleased that she's back to share with us some new ideas, because she's one of those people who's always trying new things and experimenting new things. And I feel certain kinship to her with her approach as well. So I'm just curious as to what you're going to be up to with this particular video. Can you share with
Yeah.
us a little ahead to just introduce this video for us?
Yes. Well, thank you, Hitomi, for such kind words. That means the world to me. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much, HFNA, for bringing me in again as a guest instructor, educator. And anyway, so we're going to explore this video. We're going to be on my friend Mandy Yakashiro, her farm here locally in Abbotsford, BC, which is just about 45 minutes from where I live. And I think we'll just let the video roll to give you a feel for where I'm going to be at, and then we can chit chat a little bit later.
What I think makes Hawaiian tropicals unique are the different varieties and also the colors. Varieties of foliage that I don't ever see in our area. It's wonderful to be able to open up a box and be surprised by just all the different colors that foliages come in that I never even dreamt of before. Also, the anthuriums are probably one of my favorite things, my favorite boxes to open as well. Because of the shapes, the sizes, and again, just the variety that they come in, and direct to my door is even better, of course. Hi, I'm Brenna Quan, and I'm a floral designer and educator based out of Vancouver, BC, Canada. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be back with the Hawaii Wedding Celebration webinar. I'm here at Yakashiro Farm in Abbotsford, BC, where Mandy Yakashiro grows all of her own flowers and dries them in her botanical barn here. And it's just wonderful to collaborate with Mandy on different types of products that she likes to grow and to suggest new things. So she's been wonderful to work with, and it's going to be fun. I want to say all of it, but well, my favorite tropicals really are things that have a lot of texture. I mean, they're not flowers, but the roots even that we can get are just wonderful to be able to work with and design with in fun ways. Of course, I think I have to say that the anthurium just screams tropical, and so I love combining anthurium with just different designs and just playing around with contrast and, again, textures. So what's also unique about the Hawaiian Anthurium are just the myriad of sizes that they come in. I've gotten flowers that obake, for instance, the obake Anthurium are bigger than my face, and just they always seem to draw attention when I use them for any type of demonstration. And they go down to just the mini size, even just the teeny tiny few centimeters that are very easy to use for designers in, say, for personal flowers like corsages, boutonnieres, and even the flower crowns, leipo'o. So the tropicals that I brought in for this demonstration, of course, some anthurium of all sizes. I also wanted to feature some of the really unique foliages that Hawaii has to offer. And what I did ask for was to surprise me with anything that had maybe some pink variegation, different striations and patterns. And when I opened the box, I was kind of floored because I had never seen these colors before in, say, cordyline and also philodendron leaf with just a beautiful pink shade that it almost doesn't even look real. So that was really fun to open up. I thought that it would be a really fun challenge to combine Hawaiian tropical flowers with actual dried flowers. And since I've known Mandy, I've just really wanted to be able to incorporate what she has here on the farm, which are just naturally dried flowers with just bright, brilliant colors. And also she has the naturally bleached flowers just from the sun. So combining that with Hawaiian tropicals, I think is going to be really fun. Well, the first thing that caught my eye when I entered the botanical barn was something that Mandy told me is called cloudgrass. And ever since I saw that, I had in my mind that I wanted to create something ethereal with bridal work in mind. I wanted to create a leipo'o in some nice whites and cream colors. And when thinking about Hawaiian tropical flowers, the first thing that came to my mind there were the dendrobium orchids, because they have such a delicate feel to the blooms, as well as some interesting kind of pinkish color striations in the stem itself. I thought it would also be nice to add a few hokuloa white anthurium, and for this application I wanted to bring in the designer size, which is a perfectly petite size for a flower crown. I chose some complementary dried flowers for the crown, and I prepared all my materials by trimming the blooms down to allow myself easy assembly. Starting with a base of natural raffia, I wrap each stem as I add them in with varying order of the beautiful textures. Now, the dried flowers I have in this halo piece are the cloudgrass that first inspired this look, as well as peach statice, Polish yarrow, bunny-tail grass, strawflower, and another interesting texture called purple love grass that we cut straight from Mandy's fields. And they really bring out the purples in the dendrobium orchids really beautifully. I also wanted to embellish this bridal lei po'o with something special. So I thought to string some mini shells with the dendrobium orchid blooms. And I think it just adds something really lovely and special to this bridal lei po'o.
When it all comes tumbling down, I wanna know that you'll still be around. You know they say I had my first breakdown. And will you be there when the next comes around? Nothing gets to me. There's only sunshine ahead of me now. Smile at everything. Nothing but sunshine ahead of me now.
Being inspired by lei making, I wanted to somehow incorporate these techniques in a ceremony or a reception design. I'm always thinking of ways to create with all natural products, and knowing that the tea leaf rope lei is a common thing on the islands, I thought up an idea to create a hanging decor piece that could be used as a suspended backdrop for a wedding reception or even the ceremony itself. This Hilo method of twisting leaves is an inexpensive way to create not only an interesting look, but it's a useful mechanic to hold flowers in place. I'm creating a half screen using dried fig tree branches from the farm and connecting them with about 20 or so tea leaf rope lei. Natural armatures of woven banyan root that I often order from Hawaii can be skewered into place for the addition of clusters of flowers and foliage. Now, I'm starting off with some dried lady's mantle here to give me a sense of space within my design. These botanicals are light, airy, and of course, they are in no need of a water source, making them the perfect candidate for free stemming. Free stemming the tropical foliage will certainly last through an event. Even if they do fold slightly, it can further show off the fantastic color on the opposite sides. I'm so happy to be using all these exciting pattern foliages from my Hawaii box. The variegation in all of the varieties of cordyline is simply stunning. I asked for pinks, and I certainly got my wish. I love seeing and designing with unexpected combinations, and here, with the lush and vibrant Hawaiian tropicals, I want to show that we don't have to limit ourselves to certain groupings of materials. I mean, look at the natural vibrancy of the red and yellow straw flowers, bridging the colors of the tulip anthurium and mocara orchids. Isn't that a pleasant surprise? The dried amaranthus is also a very nice addition that adds not only textural contrast, but softens up the brightness of the Toyama peach anthurium and connects us to the whimsical dried Schuberti allium. Dimensionality is really important in design. This is why I am designing in the front and the back of the suspended piece. Doing this also adds depth, pulling in your audience, seeing the fine details of the design and the flowers itself. Well, I must say I really enjoyed the process of designing this piece, and just seeing how it's come together, mixing the fresh tropicals with the dried materials, it's actually exceeded my expectation, just knowing how very light and easy it is to maneuver, and the lasting ability is going to be perfect for any event.
Yeah, how you feel about it? No, it can be hard to wrap your head around it. Settle down and let it go. Settle down and let it go. Oh, oh. When everybody else is trying so hard, you just gotta listen to your own heart. Settle down and let it go. Settle down and let it go. Oh, oh. Tell me something. Have you wanted to be someone else? Then tell me what you're waiting for. Let me introduce myself. I'm not the same person you knew. Life in a brand new light. There's nothing that I can't do. Seeing people spend their whole life waiting, always ended up so frustrated. Didn't want to spend my whole life waiting too. Let me introduce myself. I'm not the same person you knew.
I really felt the magic here at Yakushiro Farm bring everything together today, and I'm excited to keep designing and creating with combining fresh materials and especially tropicals with the long-lasting ability with the forever dried flowers.
Life in a brand new light. Feels good just to say hello. Let me introduce myself. I'm not the same person you knew. Life in a brand new light. There's nothing that I can't do. Seeing people spend their whole life waiting, always ended up so frustrated. Didn't want to spend my whole life waiting too. Let me introduce myself. I'm not the same person you knew.
Hi,
Wow, that was
Brenna.
great.
It was terrific. Really great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool that you ventured into that combination and exploring the dried. That's just so awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. I mean, we see it's on trend right now, but a lot of times it's mixed with that and temperate flowers. But I wanted to see if we could just marry the two together and see how that bridged, just the drieds with the tropicals. And I thought it was great fun.
Yeah, because with the trend that started with pampas grass, and of course, pampas grass in wedding work in Hawaii doesn't work because it's a true invasive. So these are some of the other options that will not be as invasive. Again, we have to look and see what the actual botanical names of some of these materials are and how it does in other areas as far as seeding.
Right.
But I just love that adventure that you took us through, just sharing with us how it looks. Yeah.
Well, it's great. It goes back to, on the islands, they have these great relationships with the breeders and the growers, designers all together. And so, just trying to cultivate that in our own areas is great too. So just working with Mandy, and I befriended her last year. So from last season to this season, last season I picked up her 4 dried Schuberti alliums, and I'm like, you need to grow more. We need more next season. I tell you, everyone's going to want Schubertis. So that's what she did. And there was a whole entire row of them this year. So that was, of course, we had to use them in the design too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So Johnny, do you have any questions over there from the chat?
I'm completely amazed that we don't have any questions in the chat room. And that gives me the impression that everything that you did was very understandable and very clear. And you answered all the questions in your work. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, one thing I did notice watching a video, and by the way, all the videos today have been just fantastic. But one of the things I just noticed in my own video is that I was talking about the root structure that I used for my piece, and I said banyan root. That in particular was actually monstera root. So I just wanted to clarify there that that's what I used for the natural root ball that I used as an armature for the dried flowers and the tropical flowers. Yeah.
Well, and what I've noticed is that everything that you're absorbing, learning from all the different places are being mixed in such an unusual different combinations, because you're using some of the lay methods, and then you're using, the bamboo skewer, and then you're using, the roots, and that's what's really amazing about what is possible in floral design, is that you can concoct different combinations that gives us a whole new different look. And you did that so very well.
And it's just, I told you in the video, it's texture, play on textures, which we really love. And that's how, you brought about and coined the term tropical nouveau. It's to combine those textures, those I guess, harsher lines and the flat textures of the anthurium, but how we can soften it up. And we can do that too with drieds, with grasses, with the amaranthus and all those types of things. So that was a fun play. And also, color. What I was telling you about the foliage in the video, I asked for things that looked like they were painted, and that's in nature. It's really amazing. And then the way Mandy dries her flowers, she practically uses no irrigation. So everything is very, very localized. If it doesn't grow here, then it doesn't grow on her farm, basically, for the most part anyway. I think I have that right, Mandy. But the colors, the saturation that you see in the rows and rows hanging in our barn, it flabbergasts me. I think that, all that grows in nature. And like I said, the tropical foliage is just fantastic. The quarter lines, I had no idea. And just watching the video prior with Sue and Tessie, looking at all the different types of quarter line, I had no idea. It's so cool to explore that. And the philodendron, I think this time was my favorite one, because it just had those big splotches of bright, bubblegum pink. It's fantastic.
It's a perfect match for you.
I really like it.
Totally, right? It really is.
My color.
It's your leaf. It's definitely your leaf.
Did you see that cordyline too?
I like the way you use I like the way you use the tea leaf lays in that particular arrangement. Yeah, that was very creative. You usually only see a tea leaf lay around somebody's neck. But
I hope I wasn't,
not in a setting with all the goodies on it and everything else. That was real.
Well, I hope it was okay to use it as a mechanic and decor. I hope I wasn't breaking any rules with the cultural, Hawaiian lei. But really, it is a cording method, right? That we can cord with practically anything. I've been doing it with raffia. I've been doing it with all sorts of different types of dried stems. So that's a possibility. And like I said, I wanted to really think about natural products that we could use. So that entire hanging piece, which I asked Mandy, actually, it stayed on her farm, and she said it looked really good for almost 5 days until she started dismantling it. So that just is a test to, how long the tropical flowers will last. Obviously, the dried flowers are going to last, but so that was great news to hear. But then once she was completely done with it, all of it goes in the compost pile. So that makes me happy.
Yeah. That completes the responsibility that we have as florists for
to do
the
the best we can
sustainable
anyway.
ways. Yeah, absolutely. So the cording that you created with the cordyline, the tea leaves, they're strong, aren't they? They're really strong.
Yeah.
They're thin, but they are strong, aren't they? They can hold up a lot.
It really does. Again, this is all fun experimentation when we do these types of things. And, I had about 20 cords hanging and just, twisting back and forth. It held really well. That's all I can say. I think that, because there weren't water tubes or water source, that kept it a little bit lighter overall, but really it was so very strong and sturdy. It's cool. We'll have to test how far it can go with that and how heavy we can go eventually. But it was a good start.
So Johnny, you have a question?
Yes, I have a couple of quick questions that came in off the chat. The first one is, how did you conceptualize the backdrop idea?
How did I conceptualize? Well, you know, when I think about events, I think about, and flowers, everlasting. I think of them in photographs. You know, it breaks my heart when people say, "Oh, I don't want flowers. You know, it costs too much, so let's cut the flowers out." Like, no, it's going to last forever in your images and your memories. So I like to create those types of moments where you can take a photo in front of, the side. It just creates that whole ambiance. And I think some of you know I come from theater, and so backdrops to create something, to create a backdrop is to create the whole mood and the essence of sense of place and everything. And then you set it up for the star, or the stage, the bride and groom, or even a backdrop just for the flowers as the stars itself.
What can you do to preserve dried flower arrangements? Did you hear that?
Yes, I did hear.
Okay.
Just giving it some thought to preserve them. Well, you know, I'd have to say I'm a little bit careless when it comes to super care for these types of things. I usually reuse as much as I can the dried flower materials that I have for maybe about a year. So this is what I do. I use it throughout the year. Then I collect all the remnants or everything I have, and I create a big wreath for the holidays of all my dried materials that I've used. And then once that's done, then I kind of start fresh, just like with the new year. I start anew. I can't wait till the next season of flowers that come in. And you know, mostly you try to the product that you do have in storage, you want to keep it out of the sun if you don't want it to fade as quickly. So kind of keep it in an area that doesn't get as much natural sunlight. Or if you're doing the opposite, if that's the effect that you do want, then I'd say keep it in the sun and it'll just keep getting lighter and lighter as a natural bleaching type agent.
Thank you for your
Wow, that's great.
ideas. And one more quick question. Can you elaborate on different natural armatures? And this person also comments, she says, I find banyan breaks easily. That's
Banyan
almost
can
like
break
two
easily once
questions.
it's dry. Yeah. But banyan root, I love using too for natural armatures. And, you know, as you saw in Bruno's segment this morning, they twisted it. And so that just strengthens it. I mean, same with the cording that we did with the tea leaves. It just strengthens the material more, the fibers. So you can do that as long as you preserve the moisture. And, you know, if you're not using it right away, then you just keep it moist, keep it in an airtight plastic bag. It's even a little bit better if you can keep it in the cooler. It'll last even longer. But yeah, once it dries out, once you allow it to dry out, it does get a little bit brittle. But as I said, with anything, you can just strengthen it in that way by twisting and just keeping it pliable. With any type of branch or twig, the same thing. It's going to be pliable and more, give you better usability in creating structures by just keeping them hydrated.
Strength in numbers, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
It is amazing how banyan sort of comes back alive when you soak it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I've had the banyan for 2 years in the bucket, and every now and then I just soak it and bring it back to life and use it. It is amazing. It's a wonderful product. It's a no-brainer for me to go and pitch it and say you need to use it because it really gives back over and over again.
Yeah,
really is
it's
beautiful
so
material.
true. Yeah,
And it's available
very,
here.
very
It's
versatile.
available in Hawaii Island. You can get
I know,
from
it's
Hawaii
so
Island.
beautiful. Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah.
Yep. Always make sure that's in your Hawaii box. Always.
Any additional comments, Ms. Hitomi or Brenna?
I think that pretty much does it. I'm just so impressed with just the combination. It's really something for everyone to take in and play. And I love her idea of seasonality, trying to use up, and then make it into final and move on. Like I just like kind of the tradition that you've started with dries. That's really, really cool. So thank you for those ideas, Brenna. It's brilliant.
Sure. You're welcome.
It was great having you as always, Brenna. And
Thank you so much.
we hope to see you soon and come to Kauai and visit Kauai sometime.
Okay, I'm going to take you up on that.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
All right. Aloha. Have a
Bye-bye.
wonderful day.
You too.